All right. So, hey, oh my goodness, if I didn't say it already, this is Arrettres Hollins, the founder of Connecting Love and Marriage. I'm super excited. It's summertime, so getting into the rhythm of things along with having children and juggling, business has been interesting this summer. So I know originally I had it for Thursday nights and that wasn't really working. Then I had the Q&A sessions for Monday afternoon and that's not really working out too well. So I believe what we're going to stick with is Saturday. So Saturdays at 11:30, we're going to test this out for a while, see how it works. If it works well, then wonderful. Okay. So I got these new earrings and they make a lot of noise. If they're a distraction, please put in the comment section that it's a distraction. I don't know if it's just me because it's so, close up in my ear, but I really do need that support. Let me know if these things are too loud and it's interrupting, the sound and you really can't hear me well. Okay. So today we're talking about conflict resolution. Every single week, we're going to talk about a different topic. Anything from self-care, inner healing. One week we'll talk about creating boundaries. Another week, we'll talk about creating peace with inner peace. We'll talk about inner healing. We'll also talk about reconnecting with your spouse. Because if you plan on staying, at some point, you want to reconnect with him. So every week, there'll be a different topic. I should have it posted by Tuesday, what the topic will be for the week. And then you go ahead and you register for the event. All right. So super excited. I'm going to go through the questions that were submitted first. Okay. So if you join us, go ahead and submit your questions and then I'll be able to answer them. But I'm going to go through the ones that have already been submitted. Okay. Okay. So the first question is, how do you resolve conflict as an alpha wife, which is a major struggle for many alpha wives. I'm an alpha wife. So let's first define what an alpha wife is. An alpha wife is someone who has a strong personality, can be domineering, very go-getter, very ambitious, very strong, very assertive, has no problems with saying what she wants, how she wants it, when she wants it, and how fast to get to her. Okay. And so an alpha wife is strong, and there's other personality traits that go along with her, but she's normally a very strong personality. And sometimes in relationships, what goes on with an alpha wife is in business, in the corporate world, she's very, she got it. You don't have to. There's no emotion. She knows how to separate emotion from the job. She handles her business. She has no problem in delegating. She's very good at giving instructions. She's very good at planning. She's very good at seeing 5 years down the road, a mile down the road. She's very good at resolving conflict. She's very good at coming up with solutions to problems. The difference is at home, she struggles because of the whole dynamics of marriage and how a husband is supposed to lead, but she's an alpha wife, so it's hard for alpha wives to come up with that balance. Many alpha wives may not have been, they were raised to be strong. They were raised to be ambitious. Most alpha wives were raised to not rely on a man. They were raised to be strong and take care of themselves. So when you join in marriage, it's sometimes harder to go ahead and say, okay, how do we do this? I know we need to go left, but he's talking about going right. Or he did X, Y, and Z. Now I want to come at him. If you're an alpha wife like me, I'm a chocolate girl from the Bronx still. I live in Texas, but I'm still that chocolate girl from the Bronx. So I'm very, we can be loud. We can be strong and we can be very defensive at times. So honing that in and learning how to not pop off can be a challenge, especially because we allow our emotions to get involved. So one of the things that you can do as an alpha wife with resolving conflict is one of the main things that most women that work with me are like CEOs, they're business owners, they run businesses, they run stuff, they're nonprofit runners, they're leaders within their church, wherever they are a leader. So one of the ways you can handle these conflict is handle the conflict as though you were handling a problem at work. Okay. Now, of course, I'm speaking to women who are good leaders. Now, remember, if you are an alpha wife, you're most likely a leader wherever you function, whether it's work, church, um, and organizations, and within your community. You're normally strong and assertive, but you know how to handle yourself and get your point across without people feeling some kind of way about it. You get your point across without yelling. You get your point across without crying. You get your point across without offending people. Or you do your best to. You're very intentional about your tone. You're very intentional about getting your point across, and then making sure that you're not, being loud and disrespectful. Okay. So handle those conflicts, those conversations with your husband as though you're speaking to coworkers. Okay. Handle it as though you're speaking to others within your ministry, others within your organization, peers within your organization. Okay. Now, how does that look? Normally, when there's a conflict at work, what you should be doing, if you're an effective leader, you focus on what's the problem. That's number one. Number two, what's the root of the problem? Okay? Because if it's a problem if you're just dealing with the fruit of the problem, you're not dealing with the root, the issue is going to keep coming up. Okay? So, for example, if you are dealing with, let's say, a dirty kitchen, okay? Or let me think. If you're on here, go ahead and give me a conflict to resolve. But the whole thing is what's the root of the problem? Let's address the root of the problem. What's going to fix that problem? And then let's focus on not blaming the other person, not pointing the fingers, but let's focus on how can we solve this problem? What is the solution to this problem? What is the best way for us to not experience this conflict again? Okay, so that's the next step. After that, let's come up with strategies that can help us walk down this path where we're not creating this problem again. Okay, so for example, let's say the conflict is money issues in the house, and hubby doesn't handle finances the way that you like. You're one that you want your bills paid. You want your bills paid on time. You like your credit score. Okay, you like for it to stay high. Okay, so the issue that you need to deal with is how the finances are handled. Okay, not pointing the finger at him saying, why did you buy another watch? Why did you go to the mall? Why did you? No, let's deal with number one. He has a desire he wants to be able to, have his own money, do what he wants. He wants to be able to buy things here and there. He's a hardworking man. Hopefully you have a hardworking man. Okay, that's number one. Not somebody lazy sitting on the couch. Because we don't do that, okay? You're an ambitious wife. You're not taking care of no grown man. We don't do that, okay? So, so what we do is we come up with a system. We come up with a process to where he can receive, he can feel that he is able to do the things that he wants, and you are able to make sure the bills are getting paid. So one of the things that we do in my house is a certain amount of money can go to your husband. A certain amount of money goes to paying bills. You set it up automatically. So whether all the money deposited into one account, okay, and then you disperse it. You can place a certain amount, have it transferred into his account, and then have bills set up automatically to be paid every single month. Okay, you need to have budget meetings every single week to go over things like that. But the whole point is, when you're having these meetings, don't be emotional. When you're resolving conflict, do not be emotional. Be logical. Be solution driven. Focus on how can we solve this problem. Focus on what's the root of the problem, how to best solve it so that both of us feel safe, so that both of us feel heard, and both of us feel appreciated. Okay? Because what you don't want to do is be overbearing and just, well, you need to do what I said because I know better than you. We don't want to be that way, okay? Because you want him to feel open to hearing your advances or hearing what it is that you're wanting to say, okay? Or hearing the plan and implementing the plan. Because what you also don't want is for him just to say yes He going along with the plan, and he gonna do whatever he want to do anyway, because that can happen sometimes. So that's on passive aggressive behavior that some men do function with, and women do too. But of course, I focus on women and I help wives. Okay, so when resolving conflict as an alpha wife, be intentional about handling the conversation the same way you would handle coworkers at work, in church, or organizations that you are running or organizations that you are leading. You handle it very logical. You take all emotion out of the equation, focus on the problem. What is the root of the problem? Deal with the root. Find a solution to eliminate the root of the problem. Come up with that solution. Implement it in a way to where both of you feel comfortable and both of you feel it's doable. And then have weekly check-ins to follow up with that conflict and say, okay, is this working for us? Okay, so that's my main solution as an alpha wife, how to handle conflict in your marriage. Okay, so the next question, and I'm probably going to be on here only about 20 minutes. The Q&As are normally just 20 minutes. If you need help with this, click the link in my bio, click the link and apply to work with me on my one-on-one mentorship where I help wives who are healing with infidelity, who are working towards rebuilding themselves and implementing strategies that protect them from future harm. Okay, and conflict resolution is really necessary when you're going through the healing process because you have to deal with the issues that harmed you. Okay, so our next question. What do I do when my husband wants to give me the silent treatment? Okay, this is something that happens in both men and women. When conflict arises and your husband does not want to deal with it, he may give you the silent treatment for a couple days. He may, he's not in them streets anymore because remember, when we're healing from infidelity or any issues, he's not supposed to be out in the streets no more. You're focused on rebuilding. So if he wants to give you the silent treatment, what you have to do when he is calm, when he's in a good mood, when you're having your weekly meetings, because every couple needs to be having weekly meetings where they're checking in with each other and going over issues or things and plans and things like that. So you need to address, okay, honey, this is an issue, or this, I do not feel safe and I do not feel loved when you give me the silent treatment. And then you go over how it makes you feel. You go over what it means to you. Because when you give me the silent treatment, this is what it means to me. It means that you don't love me. It means that you don't want to work on the marriage. This is my interpretation of what that means. And then you discuss what can we do instead. Because some men need time to think. They need time to process. And some don't process out loud. Some need time to go within and process the information. So if you need time, so that's what you're saying to me, if you need time to resolve this, if you need time to think, what can we do? What's the strategy? So you can say, okay, conflict arises. We're trying to have a conversation. You can have a word that says, give me an hour. Give me 2 hours. Can we come back to this tomorrow? So the word can be pineapple. When he says pineapple, that means, okay, can we put this discussion on the shelf for a minute? And can we come back to it at our next family meeting, at our next pillow talk session? Can we come back to it in an hour? Allow him to say, this is how much time I need to process and then come back to it. You have to respect that he needs that time to process. It's not an insult. It's just some people process. I'm quick with it. I come up with stuff really quick. But when you're an alpha wife, that's how you are. Most likely, most alpha wives did not marry an alpha male. So most wives marry men. Alpha wives marry a man that takes a little bit more time to process. Sometimes they do process out loud, meaning they do need to talk it out. So identify what is his method of resolving conflict and then incorporate that into your relationship so that okay, he's going to need some time. He's going to need to process out loud. I need to just be quiet, let him process out loud while he's talking and getting it out of his system and thinking his way through. And then this is how, and then we come up with a solution to the problem. Okay, so that's how you should handle when he is shutting down or give you the silent treatment. At no point should you have the silent treatment going on in your relationship. At all, at no point, because what you're doing is you're giving the enemy room to grow, to fester, and to affect your relationship. Okay, so that's the second. So if you need help with this, if you need help with getting through that, identifying how to get your husband to open up, or how to get him to stop giving you the silent treatment, or working through that, owning your voice, because you allow that to happen, because you allow your husband to give you the silent treatment because you're not owning and walking in your truth, and you're not owning your voice. Okay, so if you need help with that, you definitely want to work with me. I have my program, Heal to Love, is definitely, it helps you work through that, and it's 101. So click the link in my bio or DM the word mentorship to me, and you can go ahead and apply, and we'll get you, we'll interview you to see if you're a good fit for that program. Okay, so my last question for today, let me go through my notes. Oh, okay. How do you handle conflict with in-laws? Which is something that many wives, well, depending on your husband's personality, okay? How do you handle conflict that arises between your in-laws? The first thing is, do not allow that conflict to now become a conflict between you and your husband. Okay? This is what you've got to understand. Your husband cannot control his family the same way you can't control your family. What you can do is create boundaries in your marriage to where they do not have input, they do not have say, and they do not have control in your marriage or your family, your immediate family. Okay? So, in-laws don't like you. Okay, they don't have to like you. Of course, you're walking with the love of God. Of course, you're still being Christ-like. Of course, you're being a woman of integrity. And you're not saying and doing things to make you look bad or to make God look bad, okay? But you need to create boundaries in your marriage. Do not allow the fact that your husband's sister doesn't like you to have you up all night fussing with your husband, okay? If they don't, it's like when you go to family gatherings, you have an understanding that, okay, babe, when I'm not really going, I don't feel comfortable here. Of course, you can have a conversation. I don't feel comfortable. Do not expect him to jump up and want to fight his family, for you. But boundaries are necessary. No, you should not accept disrespectful behavior. Yes, you need to remove yourself from situations where, or where you feel you're being disrespected. And then you create those boundaries. Don't call and let them know what's going on and then get upset because now they sharing your business, or they telling your business, or they talking about you. Whatever the conflict is, be very intentional about creating a boundary where they are not imposing their beliefs on what you and your husband need to be doing. You and your husband are now one. You two have to have an understanding of how you're going to handle situations where your spouse or where in-laws may be disrespectful. Now, of course, yes, at some point your husband does need to say, hey, what you're doing is disrespectful. What you're doing is interrupting our household, and we can't tolerate this. This is the boundary that we have created. Okay, so what we cannot expect. You cannot expect your husband to suddenly get up and want to go and yell at his mama because his mama don't like you. Okay? But they do need to respect you. And if they don't respect you, you create those boundaries. All right, sis? So I hope this helps. Once again, if you need help with this, DM me. Okay? DM me the word mentorship so we can get you enrolled into Heal to Love. I'm telling you, it is amazing. All right? So those are the only 3 questions I have for today that I'm going to go over because, I only like to do this for 20 minutes. I don't want to be on here long, making y'all, don't want to be on here long. Plus, I got to get ready to go with my kids. Okay. So Make sure you have your notifications on because I'll be sharing tips every day within the group. And I have a workshop that's coming up real soon. So make sure you're on my email list so that you can get information about my workshop that's coming up regarding conflict resolution. All right, honey? So love you, love you, love you. Hope you have an amazing day. And talk to you soon. Bye.